There are roads in eastern Kentucky that don't show up properly on GPS. Twisting blacktop that cuts through the Appalachian hills like something carved by hand rather than design. Route 219 outside of Hazard is one of them. I was driving it alone the night I picked her up. It was late October, cold rain, fog clinging low in the valleys, the kind of night where your headlights don't illuminate the road, they just bounce back at you. I had just left at a late shift at the regional hospital and was heading back toward my place outside town. No music playing, no phone signal, just tires on wet pavement. That's when I saw her, standing on the shoulder near mile marker 14. No umbrella, no jacket, just a thin white dress soaked dark by rain. She wasn't waving, wasn't signaling, just standing there, head slightly tilted down. If you ever driven Appalachian roads at night, you know you don't expect pedestrians, especially not young women alone in freezing rain. I slowed instinctively, rolled down the window halfway. "You okay?" I called out. She lifted her head. Her face was pale, not sickly, just drained of warmth. Dark hair struck to her cheeks. "I missed my ride," she said softly. Her voice was calm, too calm for someone stranded miles from town. "Where are you headed?" I asked. "Just past Miller's Creek Bridge." That was another 10 miles up the road. No houses between here and there. Just woods and sharp turns. I hesitated, then unlocked the passenger door. She got in quietly, didn't slam the door, didn't shake off the rain, just folded her hands in her lap and stared straight ahead. The heater was running full blast, but she didn't shiver, didn't breathe heavily, didn't speak. After a minute, I tried again. "You from around here?" A pause. "Yes." Longer pause. "I used to be." Something about that phrasing made my grip tighten on the steering wheel. Used to be. The fog thickened as we climbed higher into the hills. At one curve, my headlights flickered briefly. When they stabilized, I glanced at her. She was staring at me now, not blinking, not smiling, just watching. "You ever drive this road before?" she asked. "Plenty of times," I said. She tilted her head slightly. "Do you remember what happened here?" A chill ran through me. "Accidents happen all over these roads," I replied carefully. She didn't answer, just turned her gaze forward again. We crossed Miller's Creek Bridge 5 minutes later. I slowed. "This where you need to get out?" Silence. I looked to the passenger seat. It was empty. Door still closed. Seat dry. No imprint. No wet fabric. Nothing. My head started pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I slammed the brakes, threw the car in park, checked the back seat. Nothing. The road behind was empty, fog swallowing everything past 20 feet. Then I noticed something. On the passenger side floor mat, a small puddle of water dripping slowly, as if someone had just stepped out. I didn't sleep that night. I told myself there had to be an explanation. Shock, fatigue, imagination filling in gaps. But the water on the floor mat was real. I touched it. Cold. Not rainwater tracked in by my boots. It was pooled only on the passenger side. The next morning I drove back to the Miller's Creek Bridge in daylight. Fog was gone. The hills looked almost harmless in the sun. There's a small turnout just before the bridge. Gravel shoulder, rusted guardrail, a wooden cross nailed to a sycamore tree. I'd driven past it 100 times without stopping. This time I did. The cross was old, weathered, a faded ribbon tied around it, carved into the wood were the words Lena Marshall, 1998 to 2019. My throat tightened. The year felt recent, too recent. I pulled out my phone, still no signal, and waited until I got back into town to search. The accident had happened 3 years earlier. Late October, rain, fog, a single vehicle crash on Route 219 near Miller's Creek Bridge. 21-year-old Lena Marshall had been driving home after missing her ride from a friend's house. Her car went over the guardrail. 30-foot drop into the creek, pronounced dead at the scene. The time of the accident, 9:42 p.m., almost the exact time I had crossed the bridge the night before. I felt my stomach sink. The article included a photo. It was her. Same dark hair, same pale face, same slight tilt of the head. The white dress was mentioned too. She had been attending a small engagement party that evening. I stared at the screen longer than I should have, and I noticed something else. The article mentioned another detail. A witness had reported seeing a second set of headlights near the curve just before the crash. The driver was never identified. Authorities concluded it was unrelated. No charges were filed, no further investigation. I closed the article slowly because 3 years ago, I had been driving Route 219 that same night. Same rain, same fog. I had rounded that curve near mile marker 14, and I remembered something I'd forced myself to forget. I had drifted slightly over the center line, just for a second, because I had been checking my phone. A pair of headlights had flashed in my peripheral vision. I corrected quickly, never stopped, never looked back. I had heard later that someone died in a crash that night. But accidents happen on those roads all the time. That's what I told myself. That's what everyone tells themselves. I drove back to the bridge that evening, alone again, this time intentionally. Rain had started again just after sunset, not heavy, just steady. As I approached mile marker 14, I slowed. My headlights cut through mist, and there she was, standing in the same place. White dress clinging to her frame, head slightly lowered, waiting. I didn't hesitate this time. I pulled over immediately. The passenger door unlocked automatically. She stepped in, silent, calm, wet. I kept my eyes on the road. "I didn't see you," I said quietly. She didn't respond. I didn't stop. Still silence. The heater blew warm air across the windshield, fog creeping at the edges. "Was it me?" I asked. The question felt heavier than the night itself. After a long pause, she finally spoke. "You looked right at me." My hands tightened on the wheel. "I was scared," I whispered. "You didn't stop." Her voice wasn't accusing, it was factual. That made it worse. We approached the bridge again. My pulse was loud in my ears. "I can take you somewhere else," I said quickly. "Anywhere." She slowly turned her head down toward me. Her eyes weren't angry, they were empty. I never made it home. We crossed onto the bridge and the headlights flickered again. The headlights flickered once, twice, then steadied. But the fog thickened unnaturally fast, not rolling in from the hills, rising from below the bridge, from the creek itself. I felt the temperature inside the car drop despite the heater blasting warm air. The steering wheel felt cold beneath my palms. "You were halfway across Miller's Creek Bridge when she spoke again. You remembered the curve." It wasn't a question. "Yes," I whispered. The fog swallowed the road ahead until the bridge seemed suspended in nothing. No hills, no sky, just white emptiness. "I thought you would stop," she said. My chest tightened painfully. I didn't think it was that close, I replied. I didn't think. You didn't think. Her voice overlapped mine, not louder, just closer. I glanced toward her. Her hair was no longer wet. It hung still around her face. Her dress was dry, but her skin looked pale gray now, like silver stone. You saw me lose control, she continued calmly. The memory forced itself forward. The flash of her headlights swerving, the brief scream of tires, the reflection of her car sliding sideways in my side mirror. I had convinced myself it wasn't connected, that someone else must have caused it, but deep down I knew. I had startled her, drifted into her lane, made her overcorrect on a rain-slick curve, and I had kept driving. I don't know what happened, I said weakly. You didn't want to know. That was true. The bridge railing suddenly groaned under pressure. Metal creaked like something heavy leaned against it. My speedometer dropped. Though my foot hadn't touched the brake, the car was slowing on its own. Fog pressed against the windshield like breath. You crossed, she said softly, and I fell. The sound of rushing water echoed faintly beneath us, then louder, then impossibly loud, like the creek had risen 30 feet to meet us. The headlights flickered again, and for a split second I saw something impossible. The bridge ahead wasn't empty, it was broken. Guardrail crushed inward, black water below, and her car submerged, nose down in the creek. The image vanished as quickly as it appeared. We were still driving, still on solid pavement, but my hands were shaking violently now. What do you want? I asked. She finally turned toward me fully. Her eyes weren't empty anymore. They were filled with something worse than anger, loneliness. I just wanted to go home. The car came to a complete stop in the center of the bridge, engine still running, fog completely surrounding us. I tried pressing the gas, nothing. The pedal went down, no response. You left, she said, not accusing, not loud, just final. The passenger door unlocked with a sharp click. I didn't touch the controls. The door slowly creaked open. Cold air flooded in. For a moment I thought she would step out. Instead, she looked at me one last time and whispered, "Now you stop." The headlights died. Total darkness. The sound of rushing water roared beneath us. I felt the car shift slightly, as if the pavement beneath it wasn't solid anymore, as if we were tilting forward. My heartbeat thundered in my skull. Then, everything snapped back. The engine surged, the headlights returned, the fog cleared instantly. The bridge was whole, empty, normal. The passenger door was closed, the seat beside me empty, dry, no water, no imprint, nothing. I was alone, but my car was no longer centered on the bridge. It was inches from the guardrail, nose angled slightly toward it, as if I had drifted, just slightly. I drove home in silence. The next morning I returned again in daylight. The wooden cross by the sycamore tree had changed. A second ribbon had been tied to it, fresh, bright white, and beneath Lena Marshall's name, carved smaller. Beneath the original dates were new words. He stopped. I didn't carve them. No one saw who did. But I never drove Road 219 at night again. And every October when rain hits the hills just right, drivers report seeing a girl in a white dress near mile marker 40. But she's not standing alone anymore. Sometimes there's a second figure beside her, watching the road, waiting for someone else who doesn't stop.